You're listening to Wisdom of the Ancients, where ancient wisdom is remembered. Hello, beautiful tribe. Thank you so much again for being here in the space of this beautiful wisdom orb that you have all really created for us. This is a community created. So we've all been tapped on the shoulder, and we've all created this community for ourselves, for each of us. We are here together, aligning with the frequency. We are here to receive whatever the universe, whatever the divine has to share with us today in the form of our beautiful, beautiful speaker. I know there's going to be amazing words of wisdom. There's going to be readings, so we'll talk about that in just a little while. By the way, star 2 to raise your hand if you're interested in getting a live reading on the phone, or of course put your question in the question box. But let's all be here. Let's be here together. Let's be here in the collective energy. Let's connect to the universal heartbeat, which is constantly there for us to connect to. Let's rediscover our own essence. Let's recalibrate to our own essence, which is the aspect of the divine. So as we start the show, let us invoke the ancient ones, the beautiful, divine, beloved beings of love, light, power, and service to be with us, to support us today, and really to open our hearts to receive whatever we are meant to hear today. So let me introduce our next guest to you, Beth Hearn, a former prosecutor and trial attorney turned energy healer, intuitive spiritual counselor, psychic and medium, is a certified intuitive strategist and divine channel who communicates with your higher self, spirit guides, angels, and ancestors for messages, information, and guidance. She combines this guidance with a breakthrough technique that identifies and clears blocks, stuck points, and patterns quickly so you can open to a life lived on purpose in abundance, with ease, and with grace. So welcome, Beth. Welcome to Wisdom of the Ancients.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you so much for having me. It is just such a delight to co-create here with your marvelous community, which has grown and is growing by leaps and bounds. So congratulations to you and to everybody who has chosen the path of the light with this wonderful and amazing man, Ian.
Oh, that's kind of you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so everyone, let me just share with you a little bit more about today. So Beth is going to be talking about the path of the light warrior. Surrender, transform, and transcend the mundane. So that's something that's really coming through this year. So I'm really, really pleased that Beth is bringing this to us today, because, in the past, if you look at linear time, we often used to say light worker. Well, there really has been a transformation and a shift. So I'm really keen to get into that discussion with Beth. Beth is going to be also taking questions. So if, again, I mentioned that a second ago, but if you'd like to have the opportunity for a live reading from Beth, and you heard all about her, she's an intuitive strategist, psychic as well. Where are you blocked in your path as a light warrior? So what is in your way? Is it something that you have put up? Is it something that you've brought forth from maybe a previous lifetime? Is it trauma from this lifetime? Is it ancestral? I'm putting that into the space. You need to ask the question. Feel into that. Where am I blocked to my path as a light warrior? Or along similar lines, where do I most need to open to surrender, to transform and transcend the mundane? I know that's a mouthful, but, just feel into that. Where do you most need to open to surrender or to transform or to transcend the mundane? These are questions that you can ask Beth today. And then towards the end of the show, there will be a lovely process or group activations called Sacred 8, connecting of the heart to the throat and the third eye. And Beth will talk about that before she takes us through that. But that's a little bit of the structure of the show. We're always going to have the masculine provide the structure of the show, so to speak, so that the feminine can really flow and can bounce against those walls and just really be dynamic in our conversation. So Beth, yeah, it's been a little while since you've been on the show, but you certainly have been here before, probably about a year or two ago. And I know that there are people on the call today or who will be listening who perhaps haven't heard your story. They haven't heard Beth Hearn, because when I introduced you, I mentioned that you were a former trial attorney. So now you're no longer doing that. You gave up a very, very lucrative career, probably a very promising career as a trial attorney, but, at some point you were tapped on the shoulder by the divine, and the divine said, hang on a second, Beth, I've got something greater for you. And so you stepped into your purpose work, and we thank you for that. And I'd love if you wouldn't mind sharing maybe just a short story around how you were tapped on the shoulder and how you made that transition from, a trial attorney to an energy worker, energy healer.
In some ways, Ian, it was a huge jump and is. I mean, I'm sitting here in a little T-shirt and some shorts in the comfort of my home doing my work. I'm not dressed in a suit with a briefcase going to court. So there, on many levels, there were big shifts. But the truth is, I was always doing this. I just didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't actively engaging with it. As I was moving through my law practice, I was always seeking the higher good that my clients needed. I was always asking for guidance, again, not necessarily as directly as I do now because I didn't have the training, the skills, and the tools that I have to unpack and see how I can tap into that greater universal divine support. So what the divine had to do to get through to me was pretty much close every door that was open to me legally. So at the very end of my career, when I got really burned out with the trial work, which was very exhilarating, very exciting, really spoke to me for many years. But then over time, it just wasn't serving. It was taking too much from my heart, my soul, my physicality, and wasn't giving enough back, nor was I able to really serve those clients that I sought to help in the way that I aimed to do through my practice of law. And we don't have to go into we don't have time, nor do I really have the interest to, kind of go through what's wrong with our legal system. And yet, suffice it to say that it really isn't offering what I sought and what I was called by the divine to do, which is to help people open to their light. That's not the mechanism of the legal function. It isn't truly even the way it's established about justice, because that was what drew me to it was, justice that people deserved. And I found myself often having to bend the rules, so to speak, in order to get that justice, and that felt out of integrity. So as I continuously tried to twist and turn and morph to find this way to serve people, to help them to be more of who they are here to be, I started looking for different ways to practice law, right? Because I was a lawyer. So I started looking outside of the field of trial work, which is very hard to leave because you get sort of branded as a maverick. There's a lot of personalities. You have to have a personality in the courtroom or you don't do well. I mean, there's a lot of different types of lawyers, but trial lawyers all have big personalities. Big successful ones have big personalities. And you're often deemed as not a team player and you can't transfer those skills and so forth. So every time I tried to change, the door closed. And then in the last few years, that was the first inkling that the divine was saying, okay, you've done this. Yes, you were meant to. Bring that with you. That's what I know now. You don't white out, wipe off, erase whatever you have experienced, because all of your experiences bring you to who you are. So I tried to find another way to practice and found my way into an appellate practice, which was defending indigent criminals. So most of my clients back at the end of my career were incarcerated. And I thought, okay, I'm doing appellate work. My version of bending the rules, which was serving people's highest interest, was not the way that the others were using it, the lawyers and the judges and the whole system, to make, more money and power. And so I thought, okay, in this context where I'm doing appellate work, everything's already happened in the trial. I'm just reviewing the record to see if there were any errors. This is going to go great because there's no ethical issues. There's no questions. It's all there, which was true. And then what did the divine do? They made the person who was promoted to run the agency right after I started be a lunatic, an absolute man who has serious issues with right and wrong and what matters. And, I'd come to work some days and people would be standing in the hallways and I'm like, okay, who got fired? And find out that 7 people got fired that morning just because. And so that's what it looks like when the divine is saying it's time for you to think a new thought and move on. All the doors closed. I thought it was trial work I needed to get out of, got out of it, and I came up against that same paradigm. And still it took me a long time, and I didn't listen. And I was miserable. And then one day I got really drunk. That's a very big part of the practice of law, especially as a trial lawyer. Everybody decompresses with alcohol. I got drunk and fell asleep, passed out on my couch. And when I woke up the next morning, which was work day, I heard a voice that said, you will not survive if you continue to live like this. And I'd heard these voices before, and up to that point, when I was real young, I heard them very clearly. And then at a certain point, things shifted, and I only began hearing the divine messages in times of great need and desperation, like that. I mean, I was really overweight, very unhealthy, completely depressed. It was just a terrible existence. And so here the divine once again got in through that totally devastated condition that I was in. And I said, I had this whole conversation out loud in my living room. Okay, then what am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. And I'm crying and talking, and I'm hearing this voice that's just guiding me and saying, follow your heart and go. Go where? Where you've wanted to go. Now, at that time, my oldest daughter was probably early to mid-30s. And when she was 3 and we first came to California, I told her, we're going to live here. And it was my plan. 3 to 5 years, I'm going to be out there. My friends moved out here. My best friend moved out here. Told her husband, I'll be out there in 3 to 5 years. When I finally moved out here 9 years ago, the first thing he said to me was, you're a little late. I said, no, I'm right on time. Because I thought he was talking about coming to their house. He said, no, you're 25 years too late. I said, what? And he said, you said you'd be out here in 3 to 5 years, and that's 25 years ago. So that was when I realized, okay. And it was a huge leap, Ian. I'm sure I know you've had these in your life. I didn't have a course. Mm-hmm. I just knew I had to go. The divine told me. I knew it from my life, and so I came. And everything unfolded from there.
Yeah. And you've done a lot of work in the healing realms. You have a lot of clients, and you work with people to remove blocks and all sorts of other issues and traumas that are maybe impeding them or in the way of them seeing what their purpose is or just living a life of more clarity and abundance. So somewhere along the line, you developed some pretty unique and special techniques and gifts where you're able to see or intuit in order to help people. So you didn't do this alone. I know that you are now connected with your Wise One team, with the angelic realms. So just very briefly again, tell us about when that happened, when you became aware that this is something that is a greater service, a greater life purpose for you to help other people in this way.
Well, they had to kind of sneak up on me. I'm much more balanced now, but when I first started down this path, my masculine was so strong, it was said to be 80%. And when I got it down to 60%, and that was with a lot of work, the person I was working with said, we're going to just leave it there because that for you is where you're comfortable, 60% masculine, 40% feminine. So I had to really, really let that sink in and be comfortable with that shift because it was very different feeling, to be guided and to follow what's coming from within and to tune into energetic frequencies that are around me was inordinately different than making a list and this is what we're doing and here's the plan. And so it took a while for that to develop. But the first two things that really stand out in how I let it come through I deepened my meditation and made a commitment to a very evolved daily spiritual practice. And then as I was beginning to lengthen the time of my meditation to connect more fluidly with the divine, I was speaking internally during this meditation with this brilliant white light. And I had the thought, sort of the audacity to say, oh, by the way, who are you? And the light said, I am God. And I was like, basically, shut up. You're not God. Who are you? I didn't say that, but that was the energy of it. And God said, I said, really? And God said, well, who do you think your higher self is, and who do you think you've been talking to all this time? And I remember that, Ian, like I'm sitting here now. It just kind of, you know how people say it blew my mind? Well, this blew my whole everything. All my four bodies, my energetic field, everything was just blown wide open. I was completely mind blown to really, for the very first time, consciously access that connection that's always been there to source, to spirit. We're all connected. We're all one. And in that moment, I realized I had the reality, the experience of that. And then the next thing that shortly thereafter happened was in another meditation, Archangel Michael said, I am your guide, and I will be here for you. And for many years, I connected with him daily. He kind of coached me and guided me, prompted me forward, and also really got me. It's no accident that, one of the most powerful masculine archangels of all is the one who had to come into me, to me at that point, in order for me to really get it, to feel comfortable with it, and to listen to that guidance. And through that process, again, this sort of behind the way, we're not gonna talk about this. We're just gonna have you do it, because in the early 90s, my mother went to the Barbara Brennan School of Energy Healing, and I judged everything she did. I knew we had married, very, very much so. But I judged that. I was like, my mother's always been weird, and I am not going into that energy healing stuff. Yeah, you can work on me. I'll accept energy healing, but I am not a healer, and I am not a teacher.
It's in your DNA. It's in your DNA.
Yeah, it is. And the teaching part, that's what's hilarious. Yeah. My stepfather, my mother, my sister, my children, everybody's a teacher. But I very consciously, I'm getting full chills now, I very consciously rejected that. And I said, I'm not a teacher, and I'm not a healer. I'm fine being a reader. That's great. I work with angels. I'm fine with that. And then I had this experience working with a regular client, because when you get that regularity, that's when you have that commitment, that's when the real shifts come. We all look for the shiny and bright, but there is no answer to how we heal and open, expand, transform, transcend, awaken. There is no bright, shining object. Even, I think, the closest thing to it is an actual near-death experience, and that is not bright and shiny. It's very transformative, but you still got to do your work. So this particular experience was with someone who was really committed and seriously doing work. We had been working together for quite some time, and I had removed a hook that was in her field. And I was talking to my mother that night and said, in this session, this is what happened. She says, wait a minute. How'd you know it was a hook? I said, it looked like a hook. And she said, okay, how'd you know how to take it out? And to me, this was sort of like, duh. It looked like a fish hook. So if you imagine getting a fish hook stuck in your hand, are you going to just rip it out? No, you're going to ease it back out the way that it was in. I said, I just did that. She was very silent. I'm like, are you there? And she said, I am, but I'm just processing this. Most people have to be taught how to do that, and you just do it. Even then, Ian, I was like, okay, well, whatever, no big deal. It's just what happened. And it still took me like a year plus to embrace. I was doing energy healing before I was willing to embrace that as a thing that I do, as who I am. And that's where the teaching came in, and I developed a series of master classes. I'm teaching all the time. I'm teaching right now, as are you. And so those were two of my biggest last blocks that I had to surrender, the idea of who I am and who I am not, in order for me to open to the divine calling and to receive the greater gifts. Because of that opening, I was then able to receive with trust, not knowing how I would use it, but I started receiving all this sacred geometry. I was never good at math in school, so it was kind of puzzling to me. And yet I always knew when they first brought in, which we worked with in earlier shows with you, your show was the first platform that I used the Fibonacci sequence in a public way. And how I even knew that that was the Fibonacci sequence is beyond me. When I saw the patterns, the numbers floating in, I didn't know in my mental mind what that was, but my feminine, my divine, my soul knew. And so I saw Fibonacci and researched it because that mental mind, that intellectual is still really strong. I need to know. And that was the first opening. And then from there, a whole lot more sacred geometry was downloaded to me, and I had to really trust. I mean, I think that's the thing that hangs people up the most is they stop trusting themselves and they stop trusting the divine. And they draw a line in the sand and said, well, I've come this far, I'm not going any further. And that's not going to cut it. If you truly want to get there, you got to be willing to keep going. You know this.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. So you mentioned a few things, and of course the topic of the show is surrendering, transforming, and transcending the mundane. So let's keep that in the space, and with that in the space, let's talk a little bit about surrendering. So everyone on the show today, everyone listening in, is pretty much wanting to move along the path of a light worker or a light warrior, right? To varying degrees, and in order to work beyond their blockages, there has to be a degree of surrender and trust that you mentioned. So let's talk about surrender and trust. So if you have, for example, someone who is aware that they want to move forward, but they have blockages, or they just feel stuck, for example, and they just feel maybe that they're not inspired to move forward. Maybe there's not a greater sense of purpose. That certainly could be a blockage that we can probably identify later on the call. But there's also a degree of surrendering, because unless you surrender, you can't really receive. So let's talk about the relationship between surrender and receiving, and to what degree surrendering is important to this entire process of transformation.
It's essential. It's actually in from one view of which anything we can take lots of different. There are many views of the canyon. Same canyon, many views. But from one view, surrendering is everything, because if you aren't willing to surrender everything and turn it over to the divine, then you're not going to receive the full bounty and magnificent miraculousness that the collaboration between you and the divine has to offer. If you still are holding on to, I know the answer, I got to run the show, I need to be in control, I'm not going to, I'll go this far, but I'm not going to let this part go because this part is where I need to hold on to. That would be what I just said. I'm not going to be an energy healer, and I'm not going to be a teacher, when I was already doing that, but I was not willing to surrender that limiting belief that wasn't who I was. And until I got there, I didn't start receiving other things. So if you wanted to really boil it down to one thing, surrender is the way. You got to let go of everything. If what you're doing in life as a 3D human being is working for you so well, what are you looking for then? There's nothing more. If you think it's all the way you're going as a human being is what's working for you, then you don't need me or you or the show or anything. And that's not anybody. I'm going to always have more to surrender. Even that which I surrendered last week that I thought was fully surrendered, now that layer's been peeled off, I'm going to have the divine bring me something else that's a little bit deeper layer, more subtle. It's like, think of it as the surrender is if you're trying to pull a dandelion root out of your lawn and you pull it out and you see that you haven't gotten to the tip, but you say, okay, that's good enough. you're not fully surrendering into how deep you have to go, because that piece of root that's still in there is going to regrow and bring another dandelion up. You must be willing to surrender everything that opposes you stepping into your light worker, light warrior, I would say status that doesn't feel right, reality, being, the you that you are when you are fully in alignment with the light, the truth and light of you. You have to be willing to surrender into that if you really want to receive the full measure of all that you came here to be, do, have, and create. Without that, you're only going to go so far.
Sometimes it can be so hard to do.
It's exhausting.
And
it's frustrating.
Trust, right? Mm-hmm.
Right? Isn't it though? It is. And yet, it's a loop, right? It's just this beautiful loop. If you hit the hard point and you don't back away, it's just a moment in time and you get past it. I had a day 2 weeks ago, maybe it was only a week ago. Time is so weird now. The way things are speeding up and slowing down, the linear nature of it is being shifted by all the new high vibrational light that's coming in. But whenever this was, not long ago, I literally couldn't work this particular day. I had a master class to teach. I couldn't do it. I've never canceled. In the 3 years that I've been doing these master classes, I've never canceled a class. I could not work. I was so despondent and frustrated and scared and lost, and I felt sick and everything. And I kept surrendering through the day, trusting and allowing. I know I'm on the right path. Just let me know what more you have for me. And as I went through that really tough day and spent time alone doing everything that I know to do, grounding, connecting, getting in nature, meditating, listening to solfeggio tones, high frequency Hertz music, everything, movement, energy exercises. By the end of the day, I was really worn out and exhausted, but I knew I was through it. I did a massive amount of release. I set up a vortex running counterclockwise under me, and I just say to the divine, take what release. I release everything that doesn't serve. I don't even need to know. That's a big new one for me, not needing to know. I don't need to know what it is I need to release. I am just letting it go. And after this long day, painful day that really riled up my ego too, because I had to cancel clients, I had to cancel the class. I even asked a student in the class to go on the call in case anyone hadn't seen the email, which she did. So I surrendered into, in my mind, you would never ask a client or a student to help you. My mental masculine mind, that's not how it goes. You're the one who's doing it. And that act of asking her, will you go on the call, and just in case there's anyone who didn't see the email, I don't want them sitting there getting confused. And she said, sure, I'd be happy to support you. And I could see from the logs after that there was someone who came on and that she talked to them, and then that was done. That shifted that day and that process of surrendering my ego so much so as to ask for that support, not just from the divine, which I was doing all day, but from that person who was my client. I woke up the next day transformed. Now, do I want to have a day like that every week or every month? Absolutely not. So I'm going to keep the ball rolling every day, asking for guidance and doing the work to discern where am I holding and what do I need to do to surrender more deeply into the truth and light of me, and where do I need to get help. I do sessions. I have colleagues. We trade. I pay for stuff. We all need help. As you said, it's hard. And if you think you can do it on your own, you're probably kidding yourself, because it's the rare person who's living a mundane life, meaning you are living out here in the world. You're not a monk in a cave. You're living a regular life, so you have to function in the way 3D life functions, and then you're also trying to open and clear, release, surrender, and all that. You need help. So you have to be willing to receive that help. For me, in this example, that part of that help came from asking someone that previously I had held the egoic view. You would never ask that person for help. You would never ask a client for
Yeah.
help. Well, I did, and it worked, and she
Mm-hmm.
was honored. She felt great that I picked her to be the one to go on the call and you know, support me. So that's the other side of it is, yeah, it's really hard, but what are you looking at? Where are you putting your attention? Are you putting your attention on what's really hard and horrible, or are you looking to where you're trying to get, to what you're trying to do? I recently watched horse jumping, and I was really curious because the way they train people to ride horses that jump in shows is to let the jump that's right there go and look to the next one. And I tried to work with this concept. I worked with it for several weeks of how does that align with staying in the present. And what I finally realized was that in the present moment, when that horse is about to jump the hurdle that's right there in front of you, it's already done. There's nothing you can do. That is the moment. You now need to look to the next moment so that you are ready. And what does that look like? That means you are keeping your eyes on the prize at all times. I am a divine sovereign being of love, light, and service. I am a light worker. I am a light warrior. Whatever your words are, you're keeping your focus there as you stay present in the moment so that you can see what you need to surrender into and release. You can feel through the stuff, painful, icky things that nobody really wants to ever feel, because you know what the next jump is absolute miraculous amazement. I have never had the ongoing experience that I have now in my life of happiness and flow and fulfillment. And yes, I just told you I had this really horrible day, a week or two ago. It's going to happen. We're on Earth. We're in human form. It's not easy. But guess what? If you wanted to stay up there where everything flows at a different level because we're not challenged by the requirements of 3D human life, you could have. Everyone who's here now chose to be here. We all chose to be here. That's why we're here. And what does that mean for us? Well, it means it's time to move from being a light worker to a light warrior, because that's what the shift, the breakdown that is happening now, so that we can fully embody the fifth dimensional and higher frequencies that are coming through that will completely transform this planet and all negativity on it, all the beings on the planet. How we shift from that negative density into these new light frequencies and flow is by being light warriors who are willing not only to surrender into the truth and light of them, but willing to shine, to be seen, to advance the cause of bringing more light in, even if that's only by smiling at somebody and saying hello. Especially the person that you say, when that person is homeless or in trouble. And when we recognize the light in others, we become a light warrior. When we keep our focus on ourselves as a light warrior, then those dark dog days and that process of surrendering becomes, if not effortless, easier, because it's an excellent opportunity that's going to bring you higher. So what does that mean? Every challenge has a lesson. If you focus on the challenge, you're stuck in the muck. But if you gratefully receive that challenge with great gratitude for the gift that it holds, even when you don't know what that gift is, and then you work to see and get the lesson in the challenge, that's when you know you're on deck for really fully embodying all of who you are as a light warrior. Does that make sense?
It does. And, I just love what you've been sharing. In fact, I had a question that you've answered, and I'm going to ask it anyway, just to have you. Yeah, because, it had come to me to ask this question, and you answered it. And it's often good to just have you say the same thing in a different way. So I feel this is really important. So you've already spoken about this, but some people do find that their lives are mundane, right? So that could be for whatever reason. It could be feeling stuck. They could feel that they're not living on purpose. Like, when am I going to find my purpose? So that happens so often. When am I going to find my greater calling? I'm not here on this earth just to, be stuck in this boring job or whatever it might be. And I'm not saying people are complaining, but people are looking beyond to be more, and often find themselves in a state where things just feel mundane, right? Not spiritually adventuresome. So you don't pull open your shirt and have the big S for spiritual warrior, you don't, Superman, right? L for light warrior, no one's jumping into a phone booth and transforming themselves into a spiritual light warrior. I'm adding a little bit of humor,
right?
A little bit of humor there. But people want to be that, right? We want to be that, and sometimes we are. And I know personally, when I get on these shows, my day is just transformed. I can tell you right now that I can be having a so-so day, but when we get together as a community, and I think people feel the same way. Otherwise, why would you show up unless you're actually getting something from these shows? I know I do. Right? My vibration is absolutely raised, but this is an hour and a half. So what do we do with the other 22 and a half hours a day? You mentioned meditation, and you gave us some other other kind of pieces of information. But can you share again? I know this is a long-winded question. Can you share again? How do we go from transforming ourselves from mundane to feeling like that spiritual superhero? Give us some more examples.
I think the most ready as you move through the day that you can use no matter what you're doing is your breath. We take our breath for granted because we don't have to learn how to breathe from the minute that you come out of the womb and you have that first intake. It's instinctive and you know how to breathe, so we don't think about it. But the power of your breath to connect you with the earth, with the heavens, with your Wise One team, with yourself, it's unparalleled. So as you're moving through your day, and especially if you're at your day job or you're tending to kids or you're doing the dishes and you find yourself off, feeling a little wonky, if you take a deep breath in and on the exhale, release it with a little bit of sound, it really can transform everything. So just do that now. Take the fullest breath in, everybody, that you can, filling yourself all the way, seeing that breath flow all the way through every part of your body. Hold it at the top and let it go. Now, if you're at your job, you're not going to make it, and you're in public, in a cubicle, whatever, you're not going to do that big sound. But the bigger the sound on the exhale, the more you're releasing the sticky, stuck, sludgy, dense stuff that collects as we move through the day. You can start the day beautifully, and then if you're not ending up on a telesummit show like this that's all high vibes, you can be knocked out. Everything is energy. That means everything is very fluid, and there's certainly a lot going on out there in the collective consciousness all around us that is pressing on us all the time. Using your breath mindfully, feeling into it. Do it again. Just breathe in. Hold it briefly. Let it go. You can direct the body to receive the new energy from that breath. You can direct the body to release through the exhale. That's a super available technique. No one has a reason why they can't follow the pattern of their breath to ground, to reboot, to restore, to shake off whatever has come along and collected around you that isn't serving you. So it's a beautiful technique in addition to meditation and being out in nature. Now, Ian, I know you could talk about this. I was just thinking before the show of the time that we shared in Arizona at that retreat, and you were like a kid on Christmas. When you were coming and going from your hikes, it was the most, I often think of it because it's the most beautiful thing. Gives me full body chills now to think of Ian Shelley connecting with nature. It's the best high ever, and I'm not even doing it. I'm just watching you do it. And I still get the splash effect of it. So if you allow yourself to tune in no matter where you live, there's nature. And if you connect with it and allow that surging force of energy, of support and sustenance and wisdom, talk about ancient wisdom, there's legions of wisdom available in the roots of the trees, and all you have to do is feel them coming up under your feet as you're walking, as you're moving. Even if you're going from one door to your car to the next and there's a little tree, just pause, touch it. The more you embody the commitment to surrender, transcend, and transform all the mundane into moving into light worker, light warrior status, whether you do this as a business or not, whether you use your intuitive gifts as a business, that's not the point. The point is, are you taking advantage of it? It's like you've been given this brilliant textbook of ancient wisdom and you're not using it. It's not about what you're doing for a living. It's about how you're living your life. And if you learn and use these tools and techniques that you can use for free all day long, you can move through everything with much greater ease and grace. Without everything I know that one day I had a week and a half ago that was horrible would have probably been a month or more. It would have cemented those patterns in. Now I have more stuff on top of more stuff. Instead, I allow it. I created the space to let it flow and surrender into it so that I could move through it and out of it without creating more density. I don't need that. None of us need that. So it doesn't matter. Whatever you think you're here to do, the most essential thing that you are here to do is to be connected to yourself, to the divine, and to be happy. So whatever's going to get you there, that's the path for you to follow. And when I'm talking about happiness, I'm talking about inner heart, soul happiness. I'm not talking about the fleeting sort of delight that comes from a gift or a new car or any of those material things. Yeah, as Wayne Dyer once said, when someone asked Wayne in a seminar, if it's so hard to be down here and be a person, then why do we come down here? Why don't we just stay up there? And he said, well, isn't it obvious? We come here for the pizza, the beer, and the sex. You can't have those things up there. And so that's the kind of thing. Yes, we are here to have those experiences of the pizza, the beer, and the sex. It doesn't mean that we're going to live in that realm because that's a limiting realm. That's the mundane. We want to learn how to be that spiritual being who happens to be in a physical body, which is actually the truth of each and every one of us. Everyone has light. Everyone has something to offer. And maybe you're offering it through your 3D mundane job. I've heard so many stories. There was a man, I forget now what hospital was big, something like the Mayo Clinic, and he was the janitor. But he stayed after hours and connected in the pediatric cancer ward with the children who didn't have visitors for whatever reason. They were the kids whose families weren't able to be there or weren't there. And he created this whole ongoing rapport with these children, talking to them, reading to them, doing all of this, so much so that the medical staff began noticing and seeing the results of what was happening to these kids who were being gifted happiness from this beautiful man, and they started referring to him as part of the medical team, so that if anybody asked, like, who are you, when they walked in the room and saw him with the kid, I'm part of the medical team. And then he would go home and come back the next day and do his custodial duties and work with the children. You hear stories like that all the time, the old grandma in the neighborhood that is the grandma to everybody. So we have to surrender our idea of what it looks like. You've heard me speak about that. just in this time we've been together. And that's a real key part, too, because what if what you think you're supposed to do isn't big enough? What if what you think you're supposed to do is only halfway to what the divine plan is that you agreed to before you came here? And if you settle into the discomfort of the mundane, unexplored, mundane life, then you're going to miss that other 50%. The example I like to give is, look, you want a new car. You saved your money. You've got the money. You're ready to go. And you ask for a Mercedes of the divine. I want enough to have a Mercedes. This is it. But the divine had intended for you to have a Bentley, much more valuable car. Because you focus on that Mercedes, that's what you're going to get. But if instead you say, I want a car that is going to make me feel expansive and powerful and free and safe and empowered to do and go anywhere that I want. I want a car that is going to make me feel happy the minute I look at it and the second I start driving it. That's what I want, the experience of. Then you're opening yourself to getting the Bentley. Not that it's about cars. It's just an example that people can understand. So how do you support yourself in your daily life towards that? You remain conscious, mindful, connected to the breath, to meditation, to nature, to the music and the tones. I recently heard that bird song has some of the highest solfeggio, highest hertz frequencies of any tones at all. And depending on where you live, you may not have too much bird song, but here where I live, every morning, now that I know that, I wake up and I take time to listen because it's actually helping me elevate my frequency to listen to the bird song. Where are you not taking advantage of the gifts that nature, the universe, and the divine is giving you to help you open? That's the place to start if you want to know how to get through your day without being disrupted or pulled into, sucked into the mundane. It was a long and beautiful question and an even longer answer that I hope answered your question because I just kind of got going seeing all that stuff happening and I was just like, oh, this is just so beautiful. Everybody just opening. I can feel the receptivity of this community to this information, to this ancient wisdom, to these vibrations and frequencies that Ian and I, through this conversation, are bringing in. So the other thing I would add, lastly, is you need to be willing to appreciate yourself for what you're doing and how far you've come. We're real quick to give ourselves a hard time when we make a mistake, to judge ourselves. Be that quick to celebrate how brilliant you are, even if all it means is, I just meditated every day for a week. Woohoo! I'm amazing. I remembered to follow my breath today. That is amazing. You're on your way. And you have to encourage yourself because it is hard work. If it were easy, everybody would do it. If it were easy, we probably wouldn't be here. We'd still be up there because the whole thing that's happening on Earth wouldn't be happening, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
So I think
Thank
you should teach a class on how you can open your heart to receiving nature the Ian Shelley way, which is watching you do that is like the best high I've ever watched anyone have, whether it was a spiritual high or an artificially induced high. I have never, ever borne personal witness to anybody having a more expansive spiritual experience in nature than you, Ian.
Wow. Well, thank you. Yeah, I remember that vividly. I was talking, and the next thing you know, like the whole table was full. People were just coming over, and I was just telling my story about my hike. But it was more than that because I certainly I was just totally connected with those beautiful canyons and the red rock of Sedona. Oh man! And I just found out literally just a couple of days ago. I had an astrocartography reading, and I just found out literally that Sedona is one of the 5 places on the planet where I'm most supported. and I can most live up my purpose work right there in Sedona. It's one of the 5 places on the planet. So I'm thinking about moving there. Anyway, it's a thought. It's a thought.
But absolutely. That so makes sense. Absolutely. And what you just said exemplifies another aspect of the surrender is, where do you need to surrender? What do you need to let go of? You know, my entire family, besides my daughters and my grandkids, is in Chicago. And I have never been more acutely aware of the distance. My mother is 85. My dad has passed away. My aunt is 85. They're all in Chicago, and I haven't been able to go see them since the pandemic started. And it has made me really aware of the distance between here and there. And not in 1 second have I ever doubted the rightness of my move, because I was called, as you are feeling called, to Sedona or one of those other 4 places. You have to be willing to take on the tough stuff, like a move that, I don't know, Kenji Kumara, our mutual friend, he just moved at the age of 73 from Sedona to Asheville with no place to live because he was called. Now, I couldn't do it that way. I'd have to have made a little trip first to find my house, and it took him a few months. He was in like an extended stay America place. But we're not all going to have to make such a big leap as that. For many of us, most of us, a big move like I made or what you're talking about, Ian, may not be necessary. The willingness, though, how may I serve? I will hear the call. That willingness is going to make everything else flow. So that if and when you do move to Sedona, it's going to absolutely flow for you, and it's going to be the most bountiful experience beyond anything you can imagine, because you're in alignment with what the divine is asking of you for a more expanded co-creation of light.
Thank you for rekindling that memory as well. That was special. Well, I think that I'd love to go to the phones and the web. I think it's a beautiful way to continue the teaching through the questions that people have. And what we're going to be talking about is, we haven't really spoken about blockages, but people, I think when people ask the questions, you can teach as you go as well, because we also have inherent blockages that are preventing us, either a limiting belief or something that is in our space from previous lifetimes, ancestral genealogy, genealogical, that type of thing, preventing us from actually stepping into our role as light warrior. And people on the show today, people on the call, are very keen to have you do some intuitive reading to find out what those blockages might be, and for you to give some advice to them, or we could certainly talk about what's included in your offer as well to help remove some of those blockages. But let's go to the phones first, and let's go to Livermore, California, and the last 4 digits are going to be 4744. And if you're in Livermore with that phone number, then you're live with Beth. Hello, hello, hello. Livermore, Kim, maybe? Anyone home? No one home. Okay, hand up, but no one home. Okay, let's go to Austin, Texas, and it's going to be 2151, last 4 digits of the phone number. You're live with Beth.
Hello, this is Patricia.
Hi, Patricia. Welcome.
Hi, Patricia. Hello, Beth and Ian. I have been having so much fun listening to y'all's conversation. It's so a lot of joy in there that I can really feel. When you just said, you said something like, how may I serve, just show me, that kind of thing, it would just burst out into tears. Like right now, even like emotions, like just saying that, it's like, I so am, that's such a part of me, and I feel such a kind of kinship to you because of that. It's been so much a part of who I am that I just don't even I mean, I do see it in some ways, but I don't feel like I've really stepped in to acknowledge. And how can I really do that to really just, and maybe like what you see about that too.
Okay, so what I'm seeing is that the energy that is flowing through you is gathering in an outward whoosh coming from the midline, so straight down the center from the crown to the root, and it's whooshing out towards the left and just sort of flowing out. It's a beautiful and brilliant at first, but then it goes up and out and it just sort of dissipates all over. And what this is doing, and it's linked to that I want to serve energy, but without the focus first being on what do I need to do to prepare myself to serve fully, to really surrender into what I'm here to do. You need to first call all that back, right? Call all your energy back to your center, and then begin from the standpoint of what do I need to move through, work through, let go of in order to step into my path, my purpose, my experience of bringing more light and serving on this earth. If you're giving it away in that way that I see in your energy field, you have much less to give, and there's no focus to how to do it. And it's not that you have to have a focus as to how you're going to serve. You have to be willing and ready, prepared to receive that focus from the divine. And with your energy going so much out, you're not able to bring that in, because it's sort of like you're always being pulled and turned and whooshed off to the left, where you end up saying, wait, where am I? What's happening? And the person that you were about to serve is gone on about their way, and they're not even there anymore because you weren't collected enough in the truth of you to be able to really serve and support them. Does this make sense to you, Patricia?
Kind of, sort of.
The main point is, for a time, you need to bring the focus to yourself. I need to serve myself so that I can connect at a deeper level to the divine and to my truth and light, and then I may serve and support others. So keep that focus. We could do so much together. Keep that focus and get the assistance that you need to move into a state where you're bringing all of you to every moment, to yourself and to all others that you seek to serve and support.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much. I mean, certainly I have experienced that in my life, that, it's I can do, put anything in front of me for somebody else, and I can go, take care of it, and
there you go.
Yep. But then to bring all of that to me, it's like there's the, I get what
there's
you're,
the resistance. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's your biggest point of surrender. Yes, exactly. So work on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So blessings. Thanks for calling in.
Many blessings to you.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to South San Francisco, and it's going to be 5351 or the last four digits of the phone number. South San Francisco.
Hello, this is Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. Welcome.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi. I wanted to know where I'm blocked on my path and whatever else you have to give me.
Okay. So the first thing that I see when I receive that question, where am I blocked on my path as a light warrior, is there's a kind of a bullseye, but not in the typical way that we would imagine a bullseye, in your power center. So in between the bottom of your ribs and your navel, there's a big black ball with a sort of circle around the outside. And it is disrupting your ability to connect with your power and your, as Ian put it, your Superman, Superwoman, superhero, light ability because of that blockage. So that needs to be cleared. And then that outer ring that I see, and is that needs to be removed in order for the true measure of your power as a spiritual being, which is vast, and you're, really only like, 15 to 20% tapped into it. So on your best day, when you are at your most expansive, imagine there's 80% more of that wanting to come. Because with that constriction in your power center, it's making you have to work on overdrive in order to just access the truth and light of you. Does this make sense?
Yes, it does. What causes that? Is that energetic or something physical or a combination, emotional?
Yes. And genetic imprinting, there's some genealogical patterning here, some ancestral lineage stuff. Clearing that obstruction, that blockage in your power center will open up the deeper layers for you. It's sort of like you bring your car into the shop and you say, this is what's happening. It sounds like this. It won't go. I had to have people push it from the corner until the mechanic can receive all that information. But until he or she opens the hood, they can't really tell you what's under there. They can understand the problem. They have to open the hood and go deeper. So for you, you need to get this done to remove this energetic constriction in your power center, and then to explore where's it coming from so I can do that deeper clearing to release and free myself from that limiting patterning, wherever it's coming from, past life, mother, father side, or even things that happen in this life.
All of the
that
above.
Have happened to you. Yes, it often is all of the above. And again, as I said earlier when Ian and I were talking, the more resistance there is, the less surrender there is in the moment. Like even now, if you resist this information, like, I'm just so sick of always having something else, it's only going to cement that density in. It feeds from that resistance. If you instead say, wow, that is awesome. I'm so glad I have a focus. I'll work on that. And yes, I'll let the rest of it take care of itself as it unfolds the deeper layers, as opposed to, great, now I have to clear that. And then she's telling me I have everything else to clear. Forget it. It's just too hard. Do you see the difference in the responses?
Oh, yes. No, I absolutely do. And I am aware that that it's all of the above, this life, ancestral, and all kinds of things. But yes, I do. No, I've been working on myself. And thank you. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. You're doing a
Thanks,
great
Kathy.
job. Keep at it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Both of
Blessings.
you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye. All right, let's take another caller, and let's go to Belgium. Go across the Atlantic to Belgium on the web. So someone dialing in, Maria, I think it is. Maria from Belgium? Hello?
Yes, hello. Yes, hello.
Hello,
hello,
Maria.
Hello, good evening. Yes, hello, Beth. Hello, Ian. I would like to know, please can you read for me intuitively on where am I blocked to my path? Because so I could actually continue what I'm supposed to do, because at this moment I actually do not know what am I to do.
Okay, so the first thing that is coming through, actually it's the second thing, but it's the most prominent that came through from the last words that you spoke, because I actually don't know what I'm supposed to do. That is asking of you to surrender the idea that you need to know, because what your team is saying is we know, and we just need you to be ready to receive that knowledge, that directive, those marching orders. You need to be ready to fulfill that divine mission. And so what does that take? Well, one thing it takes is clearing the blockage that is, there's a kind of a disruptive, almost arrow, if you will, as if you had, and it may even actually be this, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, just for the limited short purpose that we have of connecting in right here, right now. I can't tell you for sure, but it's like if you were shot in the right side of your neck, straight through your throat chakra down into your heart with an arrow. And so it's obstructing, that density is obstructing your ability to communicate from your heart to your throat and then to feel safe to speak it outward. So wherever that's coming from, it's very ancient, feels past life. It also feels mother's lineage. It actually makes me a little dizzy considering it. It's really pronounced. That needs to be removed and healed so that you can then have it available to you to access that innate intuitive wisdom, divine, celestial, spiritual communication between your heart and your throat. So
yes.
It would be very good to work with you. I would love to work with you. You have brilliant energy, and getting that crosshairs, that arrow out, will really ease things and make it more comfortable for you to surrender into what more is possible for you, trusting that the divine will lead you there, that you don't have to figure it out. So notice, in the meantime, though, where in your mind are you running stories and programs about, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, this is too hard, how am I supposed to do it, and all those questioning things. You just want to say, thank you, I don't need that, thank you, you can go now, and see those thoughts just drop into the earth, donate them to Mother Earth for her own healing as you continue to move your way forward into that deep surrender, trusting the answers are there, the divine will guide. You do not have to figure it all out, okay?
Okay, thank you. You're really correct on that, because that had been going on with me for quite a few years now, since when I become stuck. And I always have that. Since I get stuck and I don't know anymore. First, I had the idea of what I have to do, and then suddenly I was blocked. And then I don't know anymore. So whatever I do, nothing happens. So I would love that so much, to work with you to unblock me so I could really do what I need to do.
Yes. Let's do it then. Let's do it. Yeah, every time you have one of those, I don't know what to do. Thank you for letting me know. You can go and just release that thought into the earth. Let it go.
Okay, thank you.
Your mind is only trying to help you, but it's not the way forward here.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Beth.
Maria.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cecile. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's do some web Q&A, and then what we'll do after that is we'll share the offer that you've brought to the community, which includes how they can work with you as well. And then we've got that beautiful process that we're going to end the show with. So just wanting to remind everyone, so if you missed the very beginning of the show, Beth's going to take everyone through a Sacred 8 process, which is connecting of the heart, the throat, and the third eye. And of course, she'll explain that in much better detail than I can right now, but that's going to be a little bit later on, not too far in the linear distant future. So let's go to the web. Okay. So Kim, I think what we'll do, Kim from Livermore, Kim wrote in, and Kim said, "Hi Beth, I was on the call. I can just share how amazing it is to work with Beth. I've been receiving her guidance for the last year and cannot even begin to imagine how my journey would have unfolded without her. The love and compassionate filled space she holds us in is remarkable and stretches our quantum dreams with ease and grace." I'm sorry I missed the chance to talk. It took me a second to realize my mute was on. So, Kim, if there's opportunity, we might be able to jump back to you. But thank you so much for your kind and sweet words for Beth. But I'm going to move on to some people on the web now. So, of course, Beth, this won't be interactive, and maybe you can keep the reading shorter, kind of pinpoint, and we can do a few of these, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is Genevieve from Westport. Aloha, sister. Where am I blocked on my path as a light warrior? Genevieve.
Right in this, Genevieve, and thank you, Kim. I appreciate your love, light, and energy and sharing that with us here. Genevieve, there's like a fist, looks like a dark snowball, basically, a fist-sized blockage in your third eye, and it's carrying the energy of it's not safe to do this, it's not safe to receive, I can't, it goes way, way back to, Salem witch burning days and all of that. So you want to really work on opening to releasing that patterning and that energetic blockage in your third eye so you can receive more easily from the divine. Was that fast enough?
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Okay, this is Becky from Colorado, Denver, actually. Hi, Beth. Such perfect timing that you're on the show. I've been meaning to reach out to connect with you, so this is perfect timing. Can you please tell me what's my biggest block on not allowing me to manifest and bring in all the amazing opportunities and experiences that are out there for me? It just hasn't manifested on a physical plane. So any insight for Becky from Denver?
Oh, Becky, thank you for noting, and for yourself, for me, for everyone, the divine synchronicity of you thinking about reaching out to me, and then here we are. It's those kind of noticings that open and enhance what we can receive when we take note of what's already coming to us. So continue that. And what I see happening is very interesting because I keep assessing. I think I keep feeling like it's to the right with people, but it keeps being to the left. So there's a lot of left-sided mental, egoic, mental mind, masculine opposition to the flow of the divine and to our feminine, to our soul, to our spiritual team. And for you, what I'm seeing is it's like you're doing a never-ending series of left-sided cartwheels going to the left. So it's like you just keep going. You're going in a circle. You're always moving and doing this. And like if you're trying to entertain and please and look at me, not in a self-centered way, but look, I'm doing it. I'm bringing the light. I'm helping. I'm serving. Look, look, look. And in that action of continuously doing these left-sided cartwheels, you're exhausting yourself, and people are like, okay, I don't know what she's doing, but that you're not getting the recognition that your good works and your heart are seeking because of this obstruction. So you want to just still all that, bring it all back to yourself, and let's do work together because it's a relatively new pattern. New is relative in this, is it 1,000 years, 100 years, 10 years, a week? That's sort of relative. But in the meantime, focus into your heart, bring yourself back to your heart, and let go, surrender the idea that there's anything special that has to be done for you to serve.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, this is Angela from Real Denbighshire. So I'm assuming it's somewhere in the United Kingdom. Oh, yes, you're right. Hi, my name is Angela from the United Kingdom. Okay. Can you please tell me where I'm blocked to my life path as a light warrior and how to move forward with my life? Thank you. Okay,
so Angela, there are a lot of ties, cords, filaments that are feeding into the back of your right knee. The right knee, in particular, the whole right side, is that of you moving more fluidly with greater ease and grace, strength, and confidence into your divine missions, to that fulfillment, into what more is possible for you in this life, and to the fulfillment of those soul contracts and agreements that you made. And you're being held back every time you try to take a step forward, you're being pulled back by these cords and ties. These are old responsibilities, things you used to be, are being asked to be, things you chose to take responsibility for that are not yours to fulfill. You got to let that go. All that needs to be cut, cleared, sent back to where it came from so that you can be free to move forward without disruption. I had this, and let me tell you, not attending to it ended up being many other physical reasons, things I did that were not in my highest good over the years. But I ended up with a torn meniscus and on my right side, because I was constantly, trying to muscle my way forward without doing the work to clear what was holding me back. and it was all about familial and friends and work, but primarily familial responsibility that wasn't mine to hold. So that's the point for you to really focus where you start your work.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is staying in the United Kingdom. This is Charlotte from London. Where do I need to open to surrender and transform and transcend the mundane? My life seems so small, insignificant, routine, and mundane in all caps. But yet, strangely, I don't feel I could cope with more. Help if you can, please, Charlotte.
I understand. It's kind of the energy, what I see in your field is that you've got this big Y implanted that from right at the center of your heart, the line going down, runs down, and then it splits off in two directions, left and right. And so it's not allowing you to collect yourself into yourself. You need to release the idea that you're small, that you're not here for a big reason. You are. You also need to surrender the idea that I don't know what that would look like and I can't handle more. You can handle more. You just have to take it in the right steps. You need to do the work to clear what is holding you back. Think of the prior caller, Angela, and how hard she would have to work to move forward when some energies are actually physically pulling her back. I mean, it's a lot harder. It's as if you're swimming against the current. And then you say, oh, I can't do that, so I'm just going to stop. My life is small. I'm meaningless. It's nothing, and I can't get out of this. So right here, right now, choose someone to work with to help you move through this. Me, someone else, it doesn't. It's your choice. You have that choice. And watch your language. That is the most prominent thing coming through. There is a lot of patterning and messaging that you are doing internally that is cementing in this split, this sort of the line going down is kind of staking you in place and then sending your energy off in two different opposing directions that never join up. It's no wonder that you feel my life is small and yet there's no more that I can take. So be willing to do the work to reveal what it is that's holding you back, as well as to start working with positive, favorable statements that you express to yourself. Your life is not small. You just have some work to do. You can do this, Charlotte.
Thank you. Yes, of course, Charlotte. Yeah, once in the space, we are holding space for you. Once this is in the space, it's in the quantum. You've got hundreds and thousands of us in the community. It's in the space. Yes. It's in the space.
Absolutely.
And so we're holding space. We're emanating the vibrations that you need to move forward with whatever Beth has just shared with you. So own it, girlfriend.
I love it. Yes, that's it. That's it. That is it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do this. So we got a beautiful process waiting in the wings for us. But for now, I wanted to have Beth share with everyone what she's brought to the community as an offer. So before you do that, Beth, let me just quickly share because people want to follow along visually. If you are on the webinar page, then click the orange offer button that's below Beth's photograph if you're on the webinar page. If you're not on the webinar page, then as you know, you'll need to type it in. And so if you're sitting at your computer or your phone, type in WOTA show, which is WOTASHOW.com/Beth, BETH, and the number 11, nice and easy. So I'm going to say that one more time. Everything's lowercase. There's no uppercase. There's no spaces. WOTAShow.com/Beth 11. And 11 stands for we're in our 11th season. So, Beth, thank you so much for your lovely offer. It includes opportunity to work with you privately and a whole bunch of other goodies. So there's 3 packages that you've brought to us. And take us through them if you wouldn't mind.
I would love to. So let's start at the top. I usually build up, but I'm being called to start at the top. If you were to choose to work with me and purchase Package C, that means you get a private session with me where we will, in that session, work on what you need in order to regenerate your abundance structure, your crystalline structure, so to speak, to flow with the new light codes and to assist you to anchoring those in a way that allows all of your bodies, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual, to align so that you can then move forward with greater ease and grace into what more is possible for you. That longing will be, that there's something more here, will be more accessible to you. And then I've also learned over time that when I teach, which a lot, this whole conversation that Ian and I have had is actually a teaching moment, many teaching moments, but I can do much more work with a person when we've had the opportunity to have some basic principles and theories and practical stuff already handled, so we don't spend our time. Our time is then spent really diving deep. You can get the teaching elsewhere, and then we can just do the work together. So that's why I offer a 2-part workshop. The first part is an energetically infused 90-minute teaching call, and the second part is a quantum energy lab, which is live, where you interact with me, your higher self, your guides, your Wise One team, in somewhat the same way as we have with the live callers and the people from the webcast, where you get information. The difference being that I keep these groups to a minimum number of people, usually no more than 10 or so that in the 90 minutes you're going to get that 9 to 10 minute amount of time so we can actually do some work to clear stuff. So you get all of that, plus the live call, the one-on-one with me, as well as a series of activations, the Fibonacci activations, and some samples of the MP3s from my monthly energy healing call. And as well as there's a couple of bonuses for a meditation, a golden waterfall meditation, and a clearing your meridian video, because we need to maintain our energetic body in order to be able to access all of who we are, so that we're not disrupted. And that's why Package C is so bountiful that it's where I was called to start. Package B is all of that, except it doesn't include the private session. And Package A, for those who are financially challenged, I've never offered this before in this way as a package, but I know that what we're going through collectively during this pandemic has hit people hard financially, and so I was guided to offer in Package A a 1-year subscription to my monthly energy healing call for substantially less than what it would cost you, 82% off. It would cost you $400 some to pay monthly, and instead you pay $88 and you get the year subscription. And about half of the time, not every month, but about a little more than half the time, we do that quantum energy lab after the call, after we do the work and the activation. You get the recording, so you have it to reuse again. And then you get on those occasions that we're able to spend that time and that's what aligns with the divine. We have that time to share and get some one-on-one in that group context. So those are the 3 packages. Choose what fits your needs and your budget, and I encourage, if you're thinking to work with me, just go ahead, if it's at all available to you financially, and do Package C, because the amount of support that is included in that package far extends the cost of it and will really be transformative. I mean, Kim from Livermore, who gave that beautiful testimonial, was introduced to me through a show package, and it has transformed both of our lives, her life and mine working with her. So the more contact that we can have, the more work that can be done. And yet, the work will get done if the only thing available to you is that Package A for $88. You're going to get the benefit that you need there. So, your choice, choose higher.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Beth, for bringing your lovely offers to the show and the wisdom community. We're always grateful for all the time and the energy that you put packaging them up and, just feeling into what this specific community is going to most need right now. So in that session with you, in the private session, just again, blocks that we have, is that going to be a big part of that? Is identifying and removing those blocks that we can really move forward on our path as a light warrior?
Absolutely.
Lovely.
It's where I really am the energy healer I used to claim I was not.
Yeah.
That's where you'll have the full experience of that in these sessions.
Okay. Well, lovely. All right, everyone. So just feel into your resonance with this, right? Just be still and listen to the show again, or listen to this audio and look at this offer and see which one is really resonating with you. You've shown up on the call to listen to Beth, and so there's already a connection there. You wouldn't be here on the show listening to this if this wasn't something that your higher self was at least wanting you to hear and experience the sacred transmission that has occurred so far. Yeah. And, speaking of sacred, look, is Kim still there? I was going to take a call, but it looks like she jumped off. Kim, you're not there anymore, are you, from Livermore? I thought, we'd let you jump on, but you're not there. But anyway, let me take another call. I'm guided to take Denver, Colorado for some reason. Denver, Colorado, 3352. Back to the phones for a minute. Anyone there from Denver? 3352.
Hello to both of you.
Hi, welcome.
Good afternoon. This is Renee.
Hi, Renee.
And I wanted to check in with Beth to see if she could tell me where my biggest block is in regards to my path.
Renee, it's just so lovely. The way I see your energy, you're sitting in this beautiful, peaceful lotus position with your eyes closed and just really so beautiful and peaceful. And then you have your hands gathered together in a ball right at your sacrum in your lap. And that ball is opposing everything else that you're doing. So the patterning here is it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be good. I'm not going to be good at it. I'm not going to be able to create. I can't feel passion and do anything productive. It's all this opposition to the energy that you're bringing in so beautifully from those higher level chakras. Not that they're higher in hierarchy, but they're above the sacral. And then everything is balled up down there because there's huge resistance to worthiness and that this can actually happen. So you want to work on that, because releasing that opposition in that sacral chakra is going to really allow all the beautiful light and energy and flow that you're bringing in to actually fill in and through you. Does that make sense?
It does, and those are the things that I've been working on, and it makes total sense from an alignment perspective, because as soon as the call started, I had extreme stomach pain, and so I had a feeling that that's where you were going to go, but the confirmation is always good to hear, so I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Beautiful
Thanks,
light.
Renee.
Beautiful light.
Yeah. Thanks for calling in. Okay, bye. All right, blessings, everyone. All right, Beth, I'd love it if you would now get us all prepared and ready to receive the transmission, the Sacred 8 connection activation that you're going to be taking us through. But if you wouldn't mind just sharing with us what it is. So a little bit of a description, and then by all means you can take us right through that. Okay.
So the Sacred 8 Infinity symbol is a very powerful tool that you can use in an infinite, obviously it's infinity, it's the symbol for infinity. You can use it in an infinite myriad of ways to heal. How we're going to use it today is we're going to connect it, the center point of the 8 where it crosses over is going to be installed, applied to your throat, and then the top loop is going to go through your third eye, and then the bottom is just going to circle down, and the bottom point will be right where the heart and the power center connect. And we're going to infuse whatever colors the guidance of our collective teams is and allow all density to be pulled out that opposes those higher frequencies as we then install those frequencies in you. And we'll have to do all this really quickly because we don't have a lot of time, but then we're going to flip that real quickly to the back to do the same for the back of these chakras. It's always important. People forget that there's a backside to all of this, and we want to always tune in to make sure that the flow of energy is free in those back channels. So close your eyes, and whether you lay down or sit, it makes no difference. Your spine doesn't need to be straight. You just need to be comfortable. Take a deep breath in, and on the exhale with a little sound, let everything go that has come before. Bring your attention to your heart space. Feel into the energy, ground into the earth. Just allow those tree roots to come up through your feet, and then illuminate a brilliant white light up through your heart, through your throat, third eye, out your crown, and attach it, send it up, and connect it to whatever heavenly body, star, planet, whatever's up there that's calling to you. Just connect to that as above, so below, so that you are grounded into the earth and effortlessly connected to the heavenly realm above. Lovely. Now imagine everyone in this expansive community is in a huge circle, and you're going to extend your left palm up to receive and your right palm down to send. You're just connecting. Everyone is connecting, exponentially expanding the power of this magnificent tribe. Beautiful. Allow yourself to receive, feel it flow through your heart, and then send it out your left palm, paying forward what you have so bountifully been gifted. Just letting that flow through you, holding that space in the circle. As we tune in now to the center of the circle, and from above is coming down an amazingly fluid, brilliant Sacred 8 symbol. You're going to pull that Sacred 8 into your body as the center point aligns with your throat. Let the top, it'll resize itself, flow up through your third eye, and the bottom flows through the heart just at the top of the power center. We're being called to infuse rainbow light into that Sacred 8. So see, sense, feel, or just imagine that Sacred 8 that you've infused in your being is now flowing beautiful rainbow light. You may notice some heat. Some may feel some cold, some sensation of the energy that is coming through. Even if you feel nothing, doesn't mean it isn't working, because it is. As you infuse that rainbow color, that ribbon of beautiful, expansive, limitless light of the divine. Now imagine opening the soles of your feet, the trapdoors on the soles of your feet, as this Sacred 8 rainbow infused light is flowing in, through, and as you, it is automatically flinging off, if you will, density in the heart and power center in the throat and the third eye that does not serve you, standing fully in the truth, light, and love of you as a divine, sovereign being of love, light, power, and service. Surrender now, releasing all that does not match this frequency of the truth and light of you, releasing that out and down, out and down, out and down. Take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, release everything else that has been called out by this Sacred 8 infinity loop, and let it go down into the earth. Letting it go. Beautiful. Now imagine that you can flip that Rainbow 8 right over your head. You're connecting the top point at the back of your third eye, the back of your skull. The crossover point is at the back of your throat, and the bottom loop is at the base of the back of your rib cage. Still flowing in the front, now flowing in the back, receiving now gold light. You may have already received the rainbow in the back, and you want to now infuse that, layering in gold above it, so that if one were to look, they would see a rainbow Sacred 8 in front, and from the surface, you would see a gold grace light Sacred 8 in back. Let that run. Let's get those frequencies going. Remembering the soles of your feet are open to release. Recalibrating, regenerating the front and back of all these energy centers, the heart, the power, the throat, the third eye. All are being up-leveled to open more fully with ease and grace to the true magnificence of your potency as a light warrior. Receive that now. Beautiful. Now take a moment to just one last time release anything through the soles of your feet that's ready to go, sending that down into the earth. And then just closing up those soles of your feet so you're not continuing to leak energy out. Take one last breath in, biggest breath all day. Lean forward on the exhale, releasing anything that is not in your highest interest. Letting that go now. Feeling into the potent flow as the front and back infinity symbols merge into the center of your being as one. And from here, you can allow the Sacred 8 to travel wherever it needs to activate other energy centers, meridians, any aspect. If there's any aspect of your physical body that's causing discomfort or any issues, you can send this 8 to that area to allow it to continue its infinite healing, resetting, regenerating capacity. And then together, feeling into that magnificent circle of love, light, service, and power that we have held, releasing that work, calling all of your energy back to yourself, coming all the way back to you. We say, Mother, Father, God, source of all that is, all of our guides, angels, wise one team, and all divine spiritual beings, including our ancestors who have been here today, who brought us all together today to open, to surrender, to transform, transcend out of the mundane and into our path as a powerful, brilliant light warrior. For this we give great thanks, extend much love, and so it is. And then just open your eyes. I love that sound, Ian. And notice what you notice. As you do energy work, it is always important to notice whatever's happening or not. It doesn't matter what you're noticing. Just in that noticing, you integrate the shifts and changes more readily into the physical body. So just take a moment to notice, drink a lot of water, and do stay grounded. How was that for you, Ian?
Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful.
I love the flipping part. I don't know why, but I love when it flips.
And the rainbow-colored infinity.
Yeah, I've been working a lot with rainbow colors the last last week or so. It's just been coming through, really, especially since the Lionsgate. Everything's been rainbow. I was surprised even that they brought in that gold on the backside. So, yeah, just gorgeous. What
Beautiful.
a gorgeous community
you so much.
have.
Yes, I know. We're all part of it.
It's not surprising because you, my friend, have some gorgeous energy. So, of course, you would draw more.
And this is just the beginning. We have some really, really amazing things planned. We've been guided to grow in a completely different way. So there's no announcements yet.
I love it.
But, I haven't even said it on the air ever. This is the first time ever I'm even mentioning it. I'm not even going to say it because I'm not, I don't have the go-ahead to say it yet. But we are going to be doing something so special. We're going to be tearing down the walls. It's going to be inclusive. It's going to be engaging. It's going to be interactive. It's going to be a whole new look and feel for how we actually engage with both speakers and with the community. All light warriors, light workers, all together, access to activations, access to meditations, access to just access, just every day. There's going to be so much more every day, so much live interaction. We're doing things that have never been done before, and certainly we're going to be doing them in a different way. And anyone who's part of the wisdom community is going to be included, and there's going to be so much light. We're never going to turn off the lights. The lights will always be on.
I love it. I feel that very powerfully in the back of my throat. So it just feels like the truth and light is opening up all around you and just expanding out. It's brilliant. I can't wait to see what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I can't wait to see what's going to
I know that feeling.
Yeah. I just said yes.
That's the true surrender, isn't it? Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what it is.
All right. Well, Beth, thank you so much for being here on the show again. It's been so wonderful to have you and have you share your wisdom, insights, your laughter, and certainly your experiences and this beautiful process, and also for bringing your lovely offer to the wisdom community. And as we say that, it's 5:42 p.m. Eastern time, which is my angel numbers, it means awaken to the belief of the infinity. So basically, and these three numbers show up in my life every single day. I used to take screenshots and send them to like my beloved Crystal and go, man, you won't believe it now. We don't even bother anymore. They just show up every single day in so many ways, like in crazy odd places. So basically I'm being shown that I have to have belief in the infinity. And that really aligns with what you are doing with that lovely process, the infinity, right?
Yes, and what's interesting, Ian, and this is the trust, everybody. This is the surrender. I was going to do something else as of this morning. But then when you said when we were talking just before the show, and you said, do you know the process or is it just going to come through? And right then they said, we're switching it up. And that's when they told me this is what we're going to do. So that's what can happen when you surrender. And hear what Ian just said. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. It's going to be amazing what we're doing. And I can't wait to see what it looks like. He's waiting to see what it looks like. He has an idea, but he's willing to let the divine bring it forth. That's the juice. That's the power. Go, Ian.
Yeah, it's for all of us. All right. Well, Beth, Sacred Soul, thank you again for being here and for your lovely sharing and just shining your light here for everyone to soak up and radiate what you have been shining. So, Beth, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're so welcome. My honor, pleasure, and delight. It's always just a bountiful experience collaborating with you, Ian. Thank you very much for the invitation and for sharing your wonderful community with me. And thank you all for being here.
Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful souls, sacred souls, divine souls, cosmic souls, essence of the divine, the beautiful, beautiful essence of the creator, creatrix. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here and for showing up showing up for yourself, showing up for your own soul's evolution, showing up for others, and as Beth was saying earlier, showing up just smiling. Thank you so much for just being that light that we so desperately need in so many parts of this planet right now. Take care of the earth. Take care of the Mother. And we thank Divine Mother, Divine Father. We thank Mother Earth and Father Son. We thank the Ancient Ones and all the beautiful, divine, beloved beings of love, light, power, and service for bringing us all together and supporting us and really showing us all how strong and how powerful we truly are. Thank you for revealing our true selves to us. Much love to you all. Bye now. Namaste.